She rejected him for being too ordinary, then discovered his real life.
I'm begging you, don't go.
I need time.
The espresso machine hisses. The sound cuts sharply through the crowded financial district cafe. Harper does not look up. Her fingers strike the laptop keyboard with military precision. Quarterly projections, marketing budgets, profit margins. She cannot afford to slow down. Slowing down means falling behind. A smartphone slides across her spreadsheets. "Look at him," Chloe says. Harper sighs, her eyes dropping to the glowing screen. The man in the photograph leans against a rusted Ford pickup. He wears a faded flannel shirt and work boots caked in dried mud. He holds a wrench, smiling softly at the camera. "His name is Liam," Chloe says, sliding into the opposite chair. "He does freelance contracting. He is incredibly sweet. Just a completely ordinary, grounded guy. Exactly what you need to balance out your crazy corporate life." Harper's chest tightens. The word ordinary feels like a threat. Ordinary means struggling. Ordinary means watching your mother get sick and realizing the bank account is empty. Harper takes a slow sip of her black coffee. Her eyes turn cold. "He looks like a really nice guy, Chloe," Harper says. "And nice is exactly what my dad was when the bank foreclosed on our house. I need a partner who can survive a war, not someone who just wants a quiet weekend." Chloe groans. "You owe me for saving that client pitch last month. Just one date, Harper, 1 hour." Harper glances at her silver watch. Time is money, but a debt is a debt. "Fine," Harper snaps. 1 hour. Do not expect a miracle." The brass bell above the door chimes. It is Friday evening. The vintage coffee shop sits hidden in a quiet alley. Amber light spills over dark mahogany tables. A soft jazz trumpet plays in the background. It is the exact opposite of Harper's ruthless, fast-paced world. Harper walks inside like a woman entering a boardroom. She wears a structured designer blazer and a sharp pencil skirt. Her heels click aggressively against the wooden floor. She spots him in the corner booth. Liam looks exactly like the photo. He wears a simple dark shirt and worn denim jeans. He reads a paperback book, completely relaxed. Harper sits down across from him. She places her designer handbag on the table, a physical barricade. She immediately looks at the watch on her left wrist. 5 minutes past 7. She expects him to be intimidated. She expects him to stumble over his words or loudly brag about some minor accomplishment to compensate for her expensive clothes. Liam does none of those things. He closes his book. He looks at her. His eyes are steady and unnervingly calm. He does not look poor. He looks completely unbothered. Harper checks her watch again. She taps her manicured nails against the table, waiting for his pitch. Liam picks up a ceramic mug of black coffee. He slides it gently across the table toward her. "You've checked your watch 3 times in 10 minutes, Liam says. His voice is deep and perfectly even. Harper freezes. Her hand stops tapping. "You carry your ambition like it's a shield, Harper," Liam continues, holding her gaze without blinking. "You can put it down for 1 cup of coffee. Nobody here is trying to take anything from you. Or, you can catch that cab outside. I won't be offended." He does not beg for her time. He is not threatened by her armor. He simply gives her an exit. Harper stares at him. The heavy corporate shield she wears every single day suddenly feels exhausting. The wall cracks. Her rigid shoulders finally drop. She lets out a slow, quiet sigh and wraps her hands around the warm mug. "I'm sorry," Harper says softly. I usually date guys who spend the first hour pitching me their startup ideas." Liam leans back against the leather booth. A faint, genuine smile touches his face. "I don't have a pitch," Liam replies. "I just have a quiet evening. Drink your coffee." 3 days after that date, rain hammers against the concrete. It is 11 at night. The mall parking lot is completely empty. Harper stands under a flickering street lamp. She is exhausted. Her feet ache from standing in stilettos for 10 hours at a high-pressure product launch. The event was a success, but right now, that does not matter. She looks down at her car. The front tire is completely flat. Harper pulls out her phone. Her fingers are freezing. She messages Richard, a wealthy brand director she used to date. She asks for help. His reply pops up instantly. "That is terrible. Call roadside assistance. It is pouring too hard to drive right now. Good luck." She scrolls through her contacts. Wealthy partners, VIP clients, men with sports cars and millions in the bank. They all send polite apologies. None of them want to step into the storm. She stares at a single contact name, Liam. She hits dial. He answers on the second ring. 20 minutes later, yellow headlights cut through the heavy rain. The rusted Ford pickup pulls up right next to her. Liam steps out into the downpour. He does not wear a raincoat. He grabs a heavy steel jack and a cross wrench from his truck bed. He walks straight to her car. He does not complain about the late hour. He does not complain about the weather. Harper steps closer. She tries to hold her small umbrella over his head, but the wind whips the rain sideways. Liam drops to his knees in a freezing puddle. He positions the jack. He pumps the handle. The car lifts steadily. Harper watches his hands. They are strong. They are capable. They are doing the work while the rest of her network stays warm indoors. "You didn't have to drive all the way out here," Harper says. Her voice shakes from the cold. "You're completely soaked." Liam grips the wrench. He breaks the lug nuts loose with a sharp pull. He wipes his grease-stained hand across his wet shirt. "A text message doesn't change a flat tire, Harper," Liam says. He does not look up. He pulls the ruined tire off the wheelbase. "People shouldn't have to face the storm alone just because they pretend to be strong," he continues, his voice cutting clearly through the heavy rain. "Get in the car and turn the heat on." Harper does not move. She looks at her phone screen, still glowing with Richard's useless text message. Then, she looks at the man kneeling in the freezing mud. Her entire value system shifts in a single second. The expensive suits, the luxury cars, the massive corporate portfolios, they are completely useless when the storm actually hits. They offer zero protection. True safety does not look like a platinum credit card. True safety looks like an ordinary man with a wrench, bleeding his knuckles in the freezing rain, simply because she called him. Harper finally closes her umbrella. She climbs into the driver's seat and turns the engine on, but she leaves the door wide open. She turns the heat up, watching the rain hit his broad shoulders, knowing she has never felt safer in her entire life. The neon sign of the hot dog cart buzzes loudly. It is midnight. Steam billows into the cold city air. Harper sits on an overturned plastic milk crate. She wears a stunning, silk evening gown from a corporate networking gala she just escaped. She holds a cheap hot dog wrapped in foil. Liam sits on the curb next to her. He wears his usual faded denim jacket. Harper looks at him. The cheap clothes do not bother her anymore. The dirt on his boots does not matter. She feels a quiet, steady peace just sitting beside him on the concrete. Through everyday moments, she gradually developed feelings for him. Footsteps approach. Expensive leather shoes clicking sharply against the pavement. "Slumming it tonight, Harper?" Harper freezes. She looks up. Richard stands over them. He is a brand director for a major hedge fund. He wears a custom Italian suit. He looks from Harper's silk dress to Liam's grease-stained jacket, a cruel smirk spreading across his face. "If you needed a ride, my Porsche is right around the corner," Richard sneers. "You don't have to sit on a milk crate with the mechanic." The air goes dead. Liam does not move. He takes a slow sip from his paper coffee cup. His posture remains perfectly relaxed. His eyes are dark, calculating, and completely unfazed. It is the terrifying, silent stillness of a man who holds absolute power. He has nothing to prove to a man like Richard. Harper looks at Liam. Then, she looks at Richard. The illusion of the elite world shatters in her mind. Harper stands up. The silk of her dress catches the streetlights. Her eyes are ice. The mechanic has more integrity in his dirty boots than you have in your entire hedge fund, Richard, Harper says, her voice echoing sharply down the empty street. Keep walking. Richard's smirk vanishes. He opens his mouth to speak, but Harper's glare stops him. He turns on his heel and marches away into the dark. Liam looks up at Harper. His calm expression shifts. A deep, profound respect settles in his eyes. He has spent years testing women, waiting for one to defend the man, not the money. He just found her. Harper sits back down on the milk crate. Her hands are shaking slightly from the adrenaline. The street is quiet again. The silence between them stretches out, heavy and shifting. The armor is gone. Harper stares down at her paper coffee cup. She traces the rim with her thumb. Her voice cracks when she finally speaks. I didn't reject you at first because I care about money, Liam, Harper whispers. Liam turns his head. He listens intently. I rejected you because my mother died waiting for a surgery we couldn't afford, she says, the words tearing out of her throat. My dad was ordinary and sweet, but his sweetness couldn't buy her medicine. I swore I would never be helpless again. She closes her eyes. A single tear tracks down her cheek. She finally admits the terrifying truth. Her ambition is just a mask for her trauma. Liam absorbs her pain. The playful, careless facade of the freelance mechanic fades away. His eyes grow incredibly dark. He looks at the wet pavement. 5 years ago, I lost my younger brother, Liam says. His voice is slow, scraping against the night air. Harper opens her eyes. She looks at him. I completely broke down, Liam continues. The woman I was going to marry, she packed her bags within a month. He crushes the empty paper cup in his fist. She loved the powerful man who gave her the world, but she was disgusted by the broken man who just needed her to hold him, Liam says, turning his gaze to meet Harper's. Power is a lie, Harper. It only attracts people who disappear when the lights go out. They sit under the glow of the street lamp, two people running from their own terrifying ghosts. Harper reaches out. She gently covers his rough hand with hers. He does not pull away. He turns his palm up, lacing his fingers through hers. For the first time in their lives, the terrified little girl and the broken CEO are not facing the dark alone. Fluorescent light buzzes in the small apartment. The dining table is completely invisible. It is buried under scattered ad spend reports, past due invoices, and 6 empty coffee cups. Harper stares at the laptop screen. The projected revenue column glows in bright, unforgiving red. She presses the heels of her hands against her eyes. She is trembling. The ghost of her childhood poverty is standing right behind her. The front door unlocks with a soft click. Liam walks in. They have been dating for 2 months now, long enough for him to have a spare key, and long enough for her to completely drop her guard around him. He carries a paper bag of takeout. He stops. He sees her shaking shoulders. He drops the bag on the kitchen counter. He crosses the room in 3 long strides. He sits beside her and pulls her in. Harper collapses against his chest. The tough corporate armor shatters. She sobs, her fingers digging desperately into his worn denim jacket. They defaulted. Harper chokes out, gasping for air. The anchor client completely backed out of the contract. We are bleeding cash, Liam. I can't make payroll next week. Liam holds her tighter. He rests his chin on the top of her head, gently stroking her hair. We are going bankrupt, she whispers, her voice filled with raw, childlike terror. I am going to lose everything I built. I'm going right back to the bottom. She pulls back slightly, her eyes bloodshot and terrified. My boss secured one last pitch tomorrow, Harper says. A Hail Mary. Aegis Capital. If they don't give us the funding, the agency is dead. Liam's breath catches. His muscles go completely rigid. Aegis Capital. He stares blindly at the wall. He could reach into his pocket, pull out his phone, and end her nightmare right now. He is the CEO. He owns the very glass tower she is terrified of entering. But he remembers her words on the curb. She hates being helpless. She hates power dynamics. If he saves her now, revealing his billion-dollar empire, she will never trust him again. She will think this entire relationship was a twisted, manipulative game. He has to let her walk into the fire. Liam swallows hard. The silence in the room feels suffocating. He gently cups her face, wiping a tear from her cheek with his thumb. "You are not going back to the bottom, Harper," Liam says, his voice thick with suppressed emotion. "Aegis Capital is ruthless," Harper whispers, shaking her head. "They will tear us apart." Liam looks directly into her eyes. He knows exactly what the boardroom looks like. He knows exactly who will be sitting at the head of the table. "They are just suits in a room," Liam says steadily. "They don't have your fire. They don't have your grit. You walk into that building tomorrow, and you fight for your company." He presses a slow kiss to her forehead. He closes his eyes, hiding the heavy guilt crushing his chest. "Just make the pitch, Harper," Liam whispers. "I promise you everything will change tomorrow." The next morning, the glass walls of the 50th floor boardroom are cold and completely sterile. Harper sits rigidly in a high-backed leather chair. Below her, the city looks like a miniature model. Her hands are clammy. She clutches the marketing portfolio tightly against her chest. Next to her, her boss is sweating nervously. They have been waiting for 20 minutes. "The CEO is ruthless," her boss whispers, adjusting his tie. "Do not speak unless spoken to, Harper. We need this money." Harper nods. She takes a deep breath. She remembers Liam's words from last night. "Fight for your company." The heavy oak doors swing open. Two men in dark suits step into the room. They stand by the doorway, acting as a human shield. Then, the CEO walks in. Harper's heart stops dead in her chest. It is Liam. But it is not the man who held her while she cried. He is not wearing a faded denim jacket. He is wearing a flawless, midnight blue bespoke suit. His posture is rigid. His eyes are cold, sharp, and commanding. He moves with the terrifying grace of an apex predator. He walks to the head of the long mahogany table. Harper cannot breathe. The room spins. The grease on his hands, the rusted Ford truck, the cheap hot dogs on the curb. All of it flashes through her mind, shattering into a million sharp pieces. It was a lie. Liam does not sit. He drops a thick leather folder onto the polished wood. He briefly meets Harper's eyes, a flicker of guilt crossing his face before the corporate mask drops back into place. "I have reviewed the numbers," Liam says. His voice is deep, echoing off the glass walls. "Aegis will fund your agency. The contracts are ready." Her boss nearly collapses with relief. He jumps to his feet. "Mr. CEO, we are incredibly grateful for your investment in our agency." "Why are you sitting in that chair?" Harper's voice cuts through the room like shattered glass. Her boss freezes. He turns to her in absolute horror. "Harper, what are you doing?" Harper ignores him. She stands up. Her legs are trembling from the shock, but she refuses to look away. She stares at Liam. "Harper," Liam says softly. His professional mask cracks entirely. He looks at the confused executives and the bodyguards standing by the door. He points a finger toward the hallway. "Out," Liam commands. "Everybody out, now." The room empties in seconds. The heavy oak doors click shut. They are completely alone in the silent glass tower. Liam immediately steps away from the head of the table. He takes a step toward her, holding his hands out in a gesture of surrender. "Harper, listen to me," Liam says. His voice is tense and desperate. "The money is approved. Your agency is safe. I couldn't tell you before." Harper stares at him. She looks at the expensive watch on his wrist. She looks at the billion-dollar skyline behind his shoulders. She does not feel relieved. She does not feel grateful. She feels like a pawn in a billionaire's twisted psychological game. He looks at the confused executives and the bodyguards standing by the door. The glass revolving doors spin violently. Harper bursts out onto the crowded sidewalk. The freezing wind whips her hair across her face. Her chest heaves. The air feels too thin to breathe. "Harper! Wait!" Heavy footsteps pound against the pavement behind her. Liam catches up. He reaches out and grabs her arm. Harper stops. She does not look up at the towering glass building. She looks at the man in the bespoke suit. He looks like a complete stranger. "Harper, please," Liam says. His voice is frantic. The cold, commanding CEO is gone. He is entirely on the defensive. "I hid it because I was afraid. I've had people use me, lie to me for this money. I just wanted to be sure you loved me, not the CEO." Harper yanks her arm out of his grip. A harsh, bitter laugh escapes her throat. The first drops of freezing rain begin to fall, hitting the concrete like tiny daggers. "I did love you," Harper shouts. Her voice cracks, cutting through the noise of the city traffic. Hot tears spill over her cold cheeks. Liam flinches. "I loved the man who listened to my fears," she cries, her hands trembling. "I loved the man who changed my tire in the rain." She takes a step toward him. She points a shaking finger directly at his chest. "But you," Harper gasps, her voice breaking under the weight of the betrayal. "You watched me cry on your shoulder about losing my agency. You watched me panic, knowing you were the exact person I was going to beg for funding today, and you said nothing." Liam opens his mouth to speak, but the words die in his throat. The horrifying reality of his actions finally hits him. He let her suffer just to validate his own insecurities. "Harper, I am so sorry. I didn't mean to." "I don't care that you're rich, Liam," Harper interrupts, stepping backward. Her eyes are utterly devastated. "I care that while I was standing in front of you, completely naked and vulnerable, you were wearing a mask." The rain falls harder now. It soaks into the shoulders of her blazer. Liam tries to reach for her again. He desperately wants to pull her back, but she steps further out of his reach. "How am I supposed to trust anything you say now?" Harper whispers. Her voice is barely audible over the wind, yet it shatters him completely. "I don't even know if you're hiding something else far worse." "Harper, no, there is nothing else. It's just me." "Don't," she says softly. She turns away. She steps off the curb and runs blindly into the pouring rain. Liam does not chase her. He stands frozen on the crowded sidewalk. Pedestrians bump into his shoulders with their umbrellas, but he does not move. He just watches her figure fade into the gray storm, realizing his perfect test just destroyed the only real thing he ever had. That night, the yellow glow of a desk lamp cuts through the dark apartment. It is 3 in the morning. Harper sits at her cramped dining table. Her face is pale and drawn, but her eyes are fiercely awake. The glossy Aegis Capital binders are gone. In their place is a mountain of rough pitch decks for boutique investment firms. They are covered in red ink and aggressive crossouts. Her phone buzzes against the wood. Liam. A PDF file follows his name. It is a 60-page financial analysis of her agency. "The board tore your numbers apart for 3 days," his text reads. "You passed on your own merit. This isn't charity, Harper. It is a good business investment. Please." Harper stares at the glowing screen. She knows he is telling the truth, but she also knows the ruthless corporate world. The whispers would start immediately. The boardrooms would say she slept with the billionaire CEO to secure a bailout. She opens her laptop. She types a single, decisive sentence to the Aegis legal team. "We formally decline your offer of investment." She hits send. The multi-million-dollar life preserver sinks. Hours later, the sun rises. Chloe walks in and slams a paper coffee cup onto the desk. She stares at the sent email on Harper's monitor, her eyes wide with horror. "Are you out of your mind, Harper?" Chloe demands, her voice panicked. Aegis is offering a lifeline. We are completely out of money. Pride isn't going to pay the rent this month. Harper takes the warm coffee cup. She takes a slow sip. Dark circles shadow her eyes, but her posture is unshakable. She looks directly at her friend. It isn't about pride, Chloe, Harper says steadily. It's about survival. If I take his money now, I will spend the rest of my life feeling like that terrified little girl who needs a billionaire to save her. I'm not playing the damsel in distress in his social experiment. She turns back to the messy pile of boutique firm dossiers. Her voice drops, heavy but solid as stone. We will restructure. We will pitch to the smaller firms, Harper says. It's going to be brutal, but we are going to save ourselves. Cancel the Aegis contract. The next 2 weeks are pure agony. Harper pitches in cramped, badly lit conference rooms. She exposes her agency's worst financial risks. She swallows rejection after rejection. Liam honors her boundary. He does not force a meeting. He does not try to buy his way back into her life. But he never truly leaves. When she walks out of a failed pitch at dusk, she sees him. He stands across the busy street in the freezing wind, his hands shoved into his coat pockets. He just watches her from a distance, making sure she is safe. Her phone buzzes in her pocket. Did you eat today? Harper reads the text. Her chest tightens. She slips the phone back into her coat without replying. She pulls her collar up and keeps walking. She has spent her entire life terrified of drowning in poverty. She always believed the only way to survive was to hold on to money and power. But as she walks through the cold city alone, the terror finally fades. She threw away the billionaire's life preserver, and she is not drowning, she is swimming. On the 14th day, she sits in a tiny, cluttered office. A junior partner from a small fund slides a contract across the desk. It is a fraction of the Aegis money. The road ahead will be incredibly difficult. But she keeps total control of her company. Harper picks up the pen. She signs her name. She just saved herself. Rain taps gently against the large window pane. It is late afternoon. The small, vintage coffee shop is quiet. The soft hum of a jazz trumpet mixes with the sound of the drizzle outside. It looks exactly like the night he changed her tire. Harper sits in the corner booth, the exact same booth from their first blind date. She types steadily on her laptop. The crushing weight of the last few weeks is gone. She is exhausted, but she is finally free. The brass bell above the door chimes. Harper does not look up immediately. Footsteps approach her table. They stop. She raises her eyes. Liam stands there. He is not wearing a faded flannel shirt. He is not hiding behind oil stains and cheap denim. But he is also not wearing the terrifying, midnight blue bespoke suit of a ruthless CEO. He wears a crisp, white dress shirt. The sleeves are rolled up to his forearms. He wears dark, perfectly tailored trousers. This is the real man. No disguises, no intimidation, just him. He pulls out the chair opposite her and sits down. He looks at her half-empty coffee mug. A faint, gentle smile touches his lips. I heard you close the deal with the boutique firm, Liam says. His voice is deep and warm. It's a harder road, but you kept your equity. It was a brilliant move. Harper stops typing. She looks at him. Her eyes still hold a tiny trace of her old defenses. You didn't come all the way here in the rain just to tell me I made a good business decision, did you? Harper asks. Liam slowly shakes his head. His eyes grow incredibly dark and profoundly sincere. No, Liam says. I came to tell you that I'm proud of you. Harper freezes. Her hands hover over the keyboard. She has spent her entire life fighting to survive. She has fought corporate rivals, poverty, and her own crushing fear. Men have praised her beauty. They have praised her ambition, but no one has ever looked at her with this level of pure, unselfish respect. The heavy iron wall around her heart violently shakes. Liam slowly leans forward across the wooden table. Keep walking your path, Harper, Liam says softly. Your success is entirely yours. It is built on your own competence and the real strength of your company. He holds her gaze. He does not blink. But I also want you to know this, he continues, his voice steady like an anchor. If you ever hit a storm you can't weather alone, it is okay to lean on me. I will always be right here, ready to step in if you need me. Not out of pity, but because you and everything you have built are completely worth fighting for. The coffee shop falls into a deep, beautiful silence. Outside, the rain continues to fall, washing the city streets clean. Harper looks at the man sitting across from her. There are no more billion-dollar secrets. There are no more twisted psychological tests. The billionaire CEO is gone. The fake mechanic is gone. There is only a partner, a man willing to stand with her in the rain. The last piece of her armor shatters. Harper does not argue. She does not throw back bitter words. She slowly reaches out and closes her laptop. The screen goes dark. She picks up her glass of iced water. She pushes it gently across the table, right to the center, offering him the exact same silent welcome from the very first night they met. A quiet smile breaks across her face. They are finally starting over. If I were in Harper's shoes, honestly, I don't know if I could have forgiven him so easily. Rebuilding trust after someone wears a mask is incredibly difficult. I remember a time when a close colleague hid crucial financial risks from me to protect my feelings during a project. Even though their intentions were good, stripping away my right to know the truth hurt far more than the actual business problem. For me, transparency is everything. But then, if I look at it from Liam's perspective, I actually get it. Carrying the trauma of being loved only for your title or your bank account is a heavy, isolating burden. When you have been burned by people who only see you as a walking ATM, you start building massive walls. You create twisted tests just to feel safe. We all do crazy, irrational things to protect our deepest wounds. This story proves that sometimes the greatest act of love is not saving someone with your power. It is stepping back, dropping your ego, and giving them the space to save themselves. So I want to turn this over to you. What would your choice be? If you were Harper, could you forgive the ultimate lie if the man eventually proved he truly respected your independence? Or is that kind of broken trust a line you simply cannot cross, no matter how much you love him? Let me know your choice and why in the comments down below. I love reading your perspectives. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more deep, character-driven narratives. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story. Until next time, stay strong and keep walking your path.